Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today's video combines two concepts. The first concept is the DRAKKAR cologne line by Guy Laroche. The special focus on the infamous 1982 release of DRAKKAR Noir, one of the most famous fragrance releases of the 1980s and perhaps of all time. The second concept is one Patrick Bateman, the protagonist of the 1991 novel American Psycho, written by American author Bret Easton Ellis, which was followed by the 2000 film of the same name, starring Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. So let's jump right in, but before we do, there apparently is a version of Patrick Bateman that supposedly died in Ellis's 2005 novel Lunar Park. However, regardless of the questionable validity of a fictional character being alive or dead, for our purposes today, we will assume that Bateman is still among the living as of July 2025, because it helps the concept of the video tremendously if he's still alive. The first fragrance is simply named DRAKKAR, released in 1972, the year Patrick Bateman turned 11 years old. This cologne has since been discontinued, and I have personally never smelled it, but here are the fragrance notes nonetheless. The second fragrance is the most famous DRAKKAR release, again DRAKKAR Noir from 1982, the year Patrick Bateman turned 21 years old. In 1982, Bateman is attending Harvard University in the state of Massachusetts, over 200 miles away from Lower Manhattan. Compared to the original 1972 DRAKKAR fragrance, DRAKKAR Noir is darker with a leather note that the original lacks. DRAKKAR Noir is not mentioned in the 2000 film, however it is mentioned in the novel in a chapter entitled Lunch. This chapter is sandwiched between a chapter about Genesis/Phil Collins and a chapter about a triple date to a U2 concert. In the lunch chapter, Bateman is having lunch with a work colleague that he actually went to high school with by the name of Christopher Armstrong. However, in typical American Psycho fashion, this colleague is calling him Taylor instead of Bateman. Later on in this chapter, another colleague will approach Bateman and refer to him as Simpson. The restaurant is located in the neighborhood of Tribeca, and Bateman observes homeless people through the restaurant window. The two colleagues are eating appetizers and drinking Coronas, and Bateman claims that the restaurant is playing an elevator music version of the Les Miserables soundtrack, which seems extremely unlikely. The colleague is rambling about how great the Caribbean is and drops several historical inaccuracies regarding Christopher Columbus. Bateman's appetizer consists of poblano chiles with an oniony marmalade, and he appears taken aback by the mixture of the onions, cilantro, and the sickening scent of DRAKKAR Noir, the fragrance that his colleague is wearing. The third fragrance is the largely forgotten and discontinued DRAKKAR Dynamic from 1999, the year Bateman turned 38 years old. There are some quite negative reviews online that characterize this fragrance as synthetic, unpleasantly tart and peppery, and disgusting. Fragrance notes are as follows. The fourth fragrance is another largely forgotten and discontinued entry, DRAKKAR Essence from 2014, the year Bateman turned 53 years old. This one gets a slightly more positive response from reviewers, but not by much. Citrusy, clean, fresh and zesty, however bland, synthetic, and boring. Fragrance notes are as follows. The fifth fragrance was released 50 years after the original 1972 DRAKKAR, and this is called DRAKKAR Intense from 2022, the year Bateman turned 61 years old. Still available as of July 2025, this fragrance is characterized as bold, spicy, warm, ambery, and boozy. However, overall, unimpressive with only average longevity and projection. Fragrance notes are as follows. And the sixth and final fragrance was just recently released in the first half of 2025 when Bateman was 63 years old. DRAKKAR Blue is the newest release by Guy Laroche, and online reviews seem quite favorable. Characterized as aquatic, fresh, masculine, and versatile, a great summer fragrance. However, like DRAKKAR Intense, there are issues with projection and longevity. Fragrance notes are as follows. And here is an image of the 3 DRAKKAR fragrances that are still in production as of July 2025. I do own all 3 and am currently enjoying the newest, DRAKKAR Blue, as it is quite versatile for summer daytime and or nighttime use. So there you have it, a brief history lesson about the 50-year plus history of DRAKKAR fragrances, and how 1982's DRAKKAR Noir got name-dropped in a 1991 novel about a psychopathic Wall Street investment banker in the late 1980s. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.